ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतिरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादि पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay, Canto 3, Chapter 31, Verse 36. प्रजापतिस्वां दुहितरं दृष्ट्वा तद्रूपदर्शितः रोहिद्भूतां सोऽन्वदावद् वृक्षरूपी हतप्रपः. At the sight of his own daughter, Brahma was bewildered by her charms and shamelessly ran up to her in the form of a stag when she took the form of a hind. Lord Brahma's being captivated by the charms of his daughter and Lord Shiva's being captivated by the Mohini form of the Lord are specific instances which instruct us that even great demigods like Brahma and Lord Shiva, what to speak of the ordinary conditioned soul, are captivated by the beauty of woman. Therefore, everyone is advised that one should not freely mix with one's daughter, mother, or sister because the senses are so strong that when one becomes infatuated, the senses do not consider the relationship of daughter, mother, or sister. Of course, this is seems like a very extreme statement, but Shastra always gives us extreme statements to alert us. So we have to take the essence that we have to definitely we should try to avoid mix freely being alone, with people whom we don't have any relationship as such. So we should maintain distance as much as possible. It is best therefore to practice controlling the senses by performing bhakti yoga, engaging in the service of Madana Mohana. Now, this we should understand. See, when we start the process of bhakti yoga, we are as conditioned as um, people outside. Even after performing bhakti yoga for many, many years, we still remain relatively conditioned. So this artificial, thought of saying that, yeah, we are all spirit souls is doesn't make sense, right? Because we are not really on that platform. If you're on that platform, our life would have been very, very different. We would have been like the Goswamis, right? Then we can say, yeah, 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 male or female doesn't matter to me. That's a Uttamadhikari stage, right? And we should understand we are far from there. So we should respect the separation. Um, and these are all, this is subtle. Prabhupada writes somewhere else, right, saying that the engagement between opposite genders is also subtle sex enjoyment, right? So it might not be gross, but it's subtle and it's not good for spiritual progress. And why Madana Mohana? Because we should get attracted by Madana, uh, by Madana Mohana, Krishna, right? So not by Madana. We will get attracted by Madana if we engage too closely with the opposite gender, right? So better be attracted by Krishna. So keep distance, maintain distance so that we don't get attracted by Madana and get stuck. Lord Krishna's name is Madana Mohana, for he can subdue the god Cupid or lust. Only by engaging in the service of Madan Mohana can one curb the dictates of Madana, Cupid. In fact, when the Ras Leela and related topics are discussed, it is said that one who is lusty, if he hears from a bona fide spiritual master, he hears about Krishna's dealings with gopis, his lust will be gone. But with proper understanding, not just like, somebody saying, okay, let's discuss about gopis and Krishna. Not that any and every discussion will end up with that, because if we do with the improper consciousness, then we might just aggravate our lust. In fact, we might think that even gopis are an object of our lust, etc. So, but it's very powerful, the topic, but it should be heard from realized souls. Mm. Then mundane lust is actually eliminated. And if somebody is struggling with this, uh, we should also stare at the eyebrows of Krishna. The eyebrows of Krishna actually control lust. So these are some things that Bhagavatam talks about, various ways by which one can control lust. Otherwise, otherwise attempts to control the senses will fail. And when we are in the process of controlling the senses, we should make sure that we respect the rules and regulations so that we don't mm, become weakened, right? And we can remain fixed on whatever we are trying to achieve. So this is something which is very important. तत् सृष्टेषु कोऽन्वखण्डित दीः पुमान् ऋषिं नारायणं मृते योषिन्मय्येह मायया. Amongst all kinds of living entities begotten by Brahma, namely men, demigods, and animals, none but the sage Narayana, see, Narayana, Narayana is immune to the attraction of Maya in the form of woman. The first living creature is Brahma himself, and from him were created sages like Marichi, who in their turn created Kashyapa Muni and others. And Kashyapa Muni and the Manus created different demigods and human beings. So this is the generations, lineage. Brahma, then Marichi, then Kashyapa and others. Kashyapa and Manus create different demigods and human beings, etc. But there is none among them who is not attracted by the spell of Maya in the form of woman. Throughout the entire material world, beginning from Brahma down to the small, insignificant creatures like the ant, everyone is attracted by sex life. That is the basic principle of this material world. Now, Brahma is being attracted by the daughter, being attracted by his daughter is the vivid example that no one is exempt from sexual attraction to woman. Therefore, woman is the wonderful creation of Maya to keep the conditioned soul in shackles. So again, I mean, multiple verses highlighting the same topic means it's very, very important. It's very simple to understand, right? Whenever there are verses highlighting a particular topic, we have to really pay attention. We shouldn't think, oh, what is the same thing is being repeated? It's being repeated because we don't understand otherwise. We should understand even Brahma was bewildered, right? Brahma was bewildered. So we are very tiny beings. It's very easy for us to get bewildered. So it's important that this is respected. बलं मे पश्य मायायाः स्त्रीमय्य जैनोद्दिशां या करोति पदाक्रान्तान् भ्रूवि जृम्भेण केवलम्. Just try to understand the mighty strength of my Maya in the shape of woman, who by the mere movement of her eyebrows can keep even the greatest conquerors of the world under her grip. Cleopatra. There are many instances in the history of the world of a great conquerors being captivated by the charms of a Cleopatra. One has to study the captivating potency of woman and man's attraction for the potency. So this is real. This is real. This is no illusion or imagination. From what source was this generated? According to Vedanta Sutra, we can understand that everything is generated from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is enunciated there, Janmadhyasetaha. This means that the Supreme Person of Godhead or the Supreme Person, Brahman, Absolute Truth, is the source from whom everything emanates. The captivating power of woman and man's susceptibility to such attraction must also exist in the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the spiritual world and must be represented in the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. And it is represented in the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. Krishna is under the control of Radharani. So this is the reality, right? So, which is why Prabhupada used to say one Bengali one proverb, right? Says like, if a king is corrupt, then the kingdom is destroyed, and if the wife is corrupt, then the house is destroyed. Mm. So it's very, very important, and that is the reason why in Bhagavad Gita, first chapter, Whenever I talk about those verses, I specifically make it a point to highlight the power of women. If properly trained, if properly protected, then women can be responsible for a very, very precious value, or what should we say? Non-Varna Sankara, first thing, right? And potent population. Potent in the sense of, spiritually potent. Mm, So that whole power is there in the hands of women, right? And when women are not properly trained up, it results in our current society today. Unfortunately, it's a big responsibility. It's a big responsibility, and I don't know if all women are actually looking at it that way. That it's such a big responsibility. Actually, the whole society, the direction of the society is in the hands of women. A very simple thing. Um, Most men don't even bother about what is going on in the house, apart from they going and earning money, etc. Now, if women also don't pay attention to it, I've seen many houses like I keep thinking, for us actually, Prabhupada very much highlighted, emphasized on cleanliness. For example, simple, small example I'm taking, cleanliness, and I see that I go to devotees' houses and I see it's so badly kept. Things are right there, all everything, every place. There's no place for anything, right? And it's dirty and yeah, very untidily kept. Now, this is the primary responsibility of the lady in the house. Now, of course, now obviously the question will come: everybody is working, everybody is so busy. Who will take care of it? Nobody will take care of it. Who will take care of children? I will take care of the children. Uh, so this is actually the result of us of women actually not understanding their real responsibility and engaging in activities which actually, yeah, Prabhupada says that it is to naught. It comes to naught, meaning zero. It's of no use. Earning money is of no use because the whole society is going to dogs, and the only people who can actually give direction are also engaged, are also not doing their duty. Mm, So it's very, very important, right? And which is why Prabhupada says that whenever we have gatherings like this, mostly women concur, and we see that actually. In fact, I mean, in our online class here, or in our satsang, wherever we do, whatever language, it's predominated by women. That shows that actually that if women can be properly trained in devotional service, of course, it has to be trained. They have to be given training at home, but at least, those who come to devotional service, if they are nicely trained, at least we can hope, the next generations will go in the right direction. And this is why just doing bhakti is not enough. Unfortunately, we are not able to appreciate the importance of all this kind of training and bringing our attention to these topics. We just think that, oh, we are all transcendental. We'll just chant Hare Krishna and everything will be taken care. Who's going to cook in the kitchen? If we're going to just chant Hare Krishna and everything will be taken care, who's going to offer boga to the lordships? Um, in our center, I keep saying that um, specifically Prabhus do a lot of services, and I want many of the services which are actually which have uh, like the aesthetic sense involved, right? Maybe decoration, beauty, keeping the place beautiful, nice and attractive, and that should be the responsibility of Matajis, right? For example, garlands. um, mm, so you're talking about taking a mirror for darshanarthi. These things should be ideally taken up by Matajis because they have a natural aptitude for that, and it should be utilized in Krishna service. People go, and I know people go for shopping and they spend hours to choose one sari, right? And um, but we don't have the same involvement when it comes to serving Krishna, right? And we should keep looking. Whenever we look at our altar, wherever we are, how can we make it more beautiful? How can we make it more appealing to? How can we please Krishna more? Right? Now, when energy goes into these things, then yeah, other things we will, so these things we have to learn and we have to put our energies there. It's not that, okay, we are doing Garland Seva and our house is in disarray, right? That's also, Prabhupada clearly said, for all of us, our primary responsibility is our house. And in the house, the primary responsibility of what happens inside the house is the responsibility of the Mataji. Mm. So it's a very, very big, big, big responsibility. Um, so it's important that these things are given the required focus. So we can't just say we are transcendental and not discuss these topics. The Lord is the supreme person, the supreme male. As a common male wants to be attracted by a female, that propensity similarly exists in the supreme person of God. He also wants to be attracted by the beautiful features of a woman. Now the question is, if he wants to be captivated by such womanly attraction, would he be attracted by any material woman? It is not possible. Even persons who are in this material existence can give up womanly attraction if they are attracted to by the supreme Brahman. Such was the case with Haridas Thakur. A beautiful prostitute tried to attract him in the dead of night. But since he was situated in devotion, service, and transcendental love of Godhead, Haridas Thakur was not captivated. Rather, he turned the prostitute into a great devotee by his transcendental association. Of course, we are not Haridas Thakur. Therefore, this material attraction certainly cannot attract the Supreme Lord. When he wants to be attracted by a woman, he has to create such a woman from his own energy. That woman is Radharani. It is explained by the Goswamis that Radharani is the manifestation of the pleasure potency of the Supreme Person of Godhead. She is Maha Bhava Swarupini. We will, when we come to Chaitanya Charitamrita, we will read this in the fourth chapter. It's the best chapter for me, at least, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 4. When the Supreme Lord wants to derive transcendental pleasure, he has to create a woman from his internal potency. Thus, the tendency to be attracted by womanly beauty is natural because it exists in the spiritual world. In the material world, it is reflected pervertedly, and therefore, there are so many inebrities. Perverted. That attraction is pure. Mm. Actually, it took me many, I mean, even now I'm struggling, but took a lot of struggle to understand how this attraction can be pure. Mm. How is it that this attraction can be pure? Because we are so much deep in this perverted attraction of this material world between male and female that it's very difficult to understand. Krishna and Radha, when we hear about their pastimes, it's very difficult to understand. Obviously, most people ask this question, why God is doing all this? Krishna's pastime, which is why we should not go into the depths of Krishna's pastimes with Radharani specifically, their private pastimes. We should not go into unless we are completely out of this nonsense of this material, attraction, because we can't understand. We just can't understand. Mm. Um, so we have to clean this perverted reflection and this perversion in the material world. When we become free of it, actually, then the pastimes between Radha and Krishna become very blissful, because we understand that it's just, I mean, we understand the tattva behind, and that is the reason why we have to understand rasa tattva. If we simply hear pastime between Radha and Krishna, Prabhupada says it might just look like, some love affair between normal male and female. And when we think about, oh, this kind, and when we go into the details of Krishna's love, Krishna's private life has been opened up for us by the Goswamis right now, which is, I mean, unimaginable. God's private life is something not for everybody. And we can't understand how God, who is supposed to be so good, moral, ethical, etc., engages in these kinds of pastimes. Because we don't understand God. We don't understand Krishna. Mm. So it's not for everybody. So unless we are completely purified, we cannot understand these things. And which is why Prabhupada, even on Radhastami or any occasion to speak about pastimes, he just used to mention some basic tattva and then go on to Bhagavad Gita. But today, yeah, we see so many people speaking about, Radha and Krishna's intimate pastimes. And what does the audience do? Sitting and laughing, enjoying. What is the mood of enjoyment? Just like, Krishna is a boy, Radharani is a girl. That's all. That's all. We can't get beyond that. We can't get beyond that. It's very difficult. That is the reason why Chaitanya Charitamrita, though in the Antya Leela is full of, complete, just we can't understand the moods of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's in the mood of Radharani, right? But um, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami gives so much of emphasis right in the beginning for to Radha Tattva. Right? He explains what is this Radha Tattva. And of course, I mean, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, other books, etc., they also they first help us understand what Radha Tattva is, what Gopi Tattva is. Then we can try to think about all these things, right? But otherwise, because our perversion, we will simply think of everything from a perverted uh, viewpoint, and we will never be able to understand Radha and Krishna. And if we can't understand Radha and Krishna, how can we engage in their pastimes? How can we serve them? So again, so this, we have two approaches in ISKCON, right? And I want to just how different, there are two approaches we can take. One is not taking all this Vedic way of life and all the emphasis being given to society, culture, society. There's a lot of emphasis actually Prabhupada has given in his purports. One approach is to not bother about this and simply say that, we are just bhakti, we just don't worry about all this Vedic culture and all that. Just focus on doing bhakti. Then what happens? And then hope is that by doing that, we will actually become purified to come to the stage of, um, Krishna Prema. Now, the challenge with this is that because we are not brahmacharis or sannyasis who have no engagement with the material world, uh, unless we are clear how to engage with this material world, what is right, what is wrong, what to do, what not to do, we will get contaminated. We'll get affected by it. And our bhakti, practice of bhakti is not so powerful that we can actually overcome these influences. Right. So what happens is that we get contaminated by our ways of life without actually us really properly understanding it. We are getting, subtly contaminated. So we are doing chanting and we are it's like you know igniting the fire, and the whole day we are dousing the fire. We are putting water on the fire. So what happens? You know, at the best, we've just remained where we were. We didn't go down. We just remained where we were, or we've done some very little advancement. Um, and but we are doing all this hoping that we're going to reach Krishna Prema, but our way of life, our society, etc., is just not letting us move forward at all. This is one way of approaching bhakti. The other way of approaching bhakti is to take all these cultural aspects, societal aspects very, very seriously, right? And try to incorporate these in our life to whatever extent possible, right? And then do bhakti. Uh, one place, His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Maharaj says that this following Vedic way of life is like a trapeze artist, right? A trapeze artist, who's a trapeze artist in a circle, like he does that, tightrope walking, right? He's a trapeze artist. Now, for a trapeze artist, there is always one net below, right? With the net, now the trapeze artist is very, very, he's fearless because he knows even if he falls, he's just going to fall on the net. He's not going to die. So following Vedic culture is like that net, right? And then we will be protected. We will do the right things, and we will actually make advancement without getting affected negatively by the society which we are in. Yeah, some devotees are fortunate to be completely secluded, in a completely Krishna conscious environment. Of course, I mean, in today's world, it looks like no place can be free of contamination. We see that even in Mayapur, right? So it's there everywhere, obviously Vrindavan, Mathura, everywhere, because this is the material world. So to really protect ourselves from all this contamination and remain fixed in bhakti and make progress in our bhakti, living in a city environment is pretty challenging if we don't like to follow some of the Vedic, ways of life. And that is the aspect, so whenever there is discussion about society, culture, these kinds of things, we should give it due importance. Because of the two ways, just ignoring the whole Vedic way of life is a very dangerous path, especially for us who have been uh, born and brought up in this contamination. So it's very easy for us to go back unless we really take precautions. That's why Prabhupada is saying there are so many inebrities. Inebrities means not acceptable things, or what is the dictionary meaning of inebriety? Is excessive consumption of alcohol, drunkenness. I mean, insobriety, like this. mm, you understand, right? Like drunkenness is not good. So it's like we are intoxicated with, um, sense gratification, material way of life, and it creates a lot of problems. So we should really vary about it. Instead of being attracted by material beauty, if one is accustomed to being attracted by the beauty of Radharani and Krishna, then the statement of Bhagavad Gita, Param drishtva nivartate, Vishaya vinivartanti niraharasya denaha, rasavarjam rasopyasya, Param drishtva nivartate. What's true? When one is attracted by the transcendental beauty of Radha and Krishna, he is no longer attracted by material feminine beauty. Now, this requires us to be at a very high level of attraction to Radha and Krishna. Not some, I got 5 minutes in a week, I'll go and I'll stand in front of the deities and I'll get attracted. No, not possible. Right? So if we have like really very strong attraction to transcend to the transcendental beauty of Radha and Krishna, then maybe we can no longer be attracted by feminine beauty. But it takes us years. It takes us years. That is the special significance of Radha Krishna worship, which is true, which we can all experience. Right? It is the special significance that once somebody gets attracted by Radha and Krishna, that attraction just, you know, way beyond, way beyond the attraction of material beauty. That is testified to by Vyamanacharya. He says, since I become attracted by the beauty of Radha and Krishna, when there is attraction for a woman or a memory of sex life with a woman, because in previous life, before becoming such great devotees, those who are not Naistika brahmacharis, they would have memory of a sex life with a woman. I at once spit on it and my face turns in disgust. Now, this is a test for devotees. This is a test for devotees. If our face doesn't curl, we turn, lips don't curl in disgust, then we are not made progress. We still have time. Until we are in this, till we are able to experience this, we should understand that I am attracted by material feminine beauty. Really, there isn't like anything like beauty in the material world, but whatever, s- some so-called material beauty, right? And for such people, absolutely, these few verses are very, very critical. That we make sure that we, keep distance, protect ourselves. When we are attracted by Madana Mohana and the beauty of Krishna, the beauty of Krishna again, fourth chapter Adi Leela says, hmm, Krishna is attracted by his own sweetness. Just imagine, Krishna is attracted by his own sweetness. What must it be like? So these, when we read these things about Radha and Krishna, we should go crazy, saying that how is it possible? I mean, what did it be that something is attracting Krishna himself, right? And then we should yearn, we should like, become greedy to see Radha and Krishna. We should become greedy to see Radha and Krishna. Because Shastra says that our material, I mean, in this material world, we have a limitation. Even if we achieve the stage of bhava and prema, still we are limited by how much we can experience Radha and Krishna in this material world. There is limitation. So that intense desire to actually go be right there in front of Radha Krishna. I mean, I'm saying that is what has to be there in our heart. And of course, when we are not there in front of Radha and Krishna, it's not like, uh, Yeah, it's not like we're just simply standing and staring at them, right? But we engage in their service for their pleasure. So when attracted by Madan Mohan and the beauty of Krishna and his consorts, then the shackles of conditioned life, namely the beauty of a material woman, cannot attract us. Seriously, I mean, this is so beautiful. Every description of the spiritual world is way, way beyond anything that we would have seen and experienced, or we can experience in the future in this material world. So it's way beyond, right? Mm, the one who is attracted by the beauty of Radha and Krishna, there is nothing else. There's nothing else in this material world which can even come close to it. And that is the reason why we have to hear. We have to hear and see just these statements. It's not like, we have to. Unfortunately, we don't understand the power of hearing. Like, see, if hearing just these few statements from Prabhupada, it can make us think. Just this one statement, it can just make us think so much, right? And this statement also saying, what should that be attraction be? Because then a person is not going to be attracted to the beauty of a beautiful material woman. So how beautiful it must be. Mm. So these kind of just statements should make us think, mm, make us contemplate. It's not. It's actually these statements which actually move or push us in our, in this journey than hearing some pastimes about Radha and Krishna where we can't really appreciate what is going on. We can't really appreciate. But these kind of statements in Prabhupada's purports actually, um, Prabhupada said that these are my, spiritual ecstasies. This are Krishna, Prabhupada's devotional ecstasies. And when a devotee is in ecstasy, obviously that ecstasy will flow. It flow to the hearers, right? And when we see these purports, read these purports, and you can just imagine the mm, transcendental ecstasy of Srila Prabhupada, then we can get a drop of it, and drop of it is good enough for us, because I mean, many a times, Srila Prabhupada, just when you're singing Jai Radha Madhava, his eyes are like full of tears. Not just that, that's such a beautiful song, such a beautiful song. I don't know how many of us really even pay attention to these wordings. We've been singing, we sing it day in, day out. Such a beautiful song, just portrays Krishna's vivid picture in front of us. Just the simple words that are out there in that song. So these things, if we get attracted, then yeah, material wealth, material beauty, whatever it is that is attracting us in this material world will cease to attract us and stop. Because this is the real attraction. Whatever we are attracted to with in this material world is just perverted reflection. Okay, I'll stop here. Any questions, comments? Of course, these verses are not just for men. It's for women as well. Yeah. Anything? No comments? Anything about attraction, about beauty of Radha and Krishna?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, Prabhu, it remains for whatever the period of time that we are looking at the deities, majority of the time, right? So once you step out of the temple, it doesn't remove that attractions.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. What should we do?
Mm, maybe chant more or try to
Chant more,
remember,
chant
hear
more,
more.
hear more. Okay. Simple answer I'll give is simply develop a desire to reach this stage where at every moment we'll be attracted by Radha and Krishna. We simply have to beg for it. It's not something that's, we should understand that it's not just because I'm going to do some nice chanting, I'm going to get this. No, because it's purely mercy of Krishna, if we can reach there. So, laulyam ekam maulyam. We have to understand this. The only price we have to pay is intense greed to achieve this. It's a very simple concept, actually. Sometimes we complicate Krishna consciousness. Materially, we want something, we desire it, we intensely desire it, we work towards it, we accomplish it. Yes, everybody has gone through this. Everybody experiences this. And it's the same thing with the spiritual stuff. Just that it requires so much more greed because the material greed is just there lurking. I mean, it's just right there for us. Materially we are attracted by things, and so unless this attraction is more powerful, more intense, it can't replace the material attraction, material greed. And that's why our acharyas say intense greed is required. So the beginning of the process to be attracted to Radha and Krishna is intense greed. And that intense greed can be developed simply by hearing from Srila Prabhupada. Then everything else will fall in place. Okay?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah.
It just reminded me of, I don't know if I can recollect Prabhupada and some of the devotees were walking and a very beautiful Mataji stepped in. And one of the devotees was literally staring and again staring, and Prabhupada noticed it with his corner of the eye. And he says, "Isn't she beautiful?" And the devotee was taken aback. He didn't expect this from Prabhupada. And he said, if God, she's the Lord is, the Krishna has created, how beautiful will Krishna and Radha be?
Exactly.
So, he even the beauty of the woman, he dovetailed it to Krishna. And we get caught there, Prabhu. Like even today, when we see somebody beautiful or handsome, we give him, we give him a look. Of course, your eyes are meant for it. But when it comes to Krishna and Radha, it's just momentary. It's just like a spark and it goes out. But that another materialistic beauty, we carry on. We at least dwell in it for some time.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's our sad situation right now.
At least I'm talking about myself, Prabhu. I can't comment for anybody.
Many of us. I don't think we are all in the same boat. Different stages. That's all. But yeah, amazing. Yeah. What is the beauty of Radha and Krishna? Who can say? Yeah. Okay, Jai. So let's.
Prabhu,
Yeah.
I want to share one thing.
Yes, Mataji.
We had gone to the yatra, right? There, I went to Puri Jagannath for the first time, and it was amazing. If you remember, I think I shared how I felt also.
Yeah.
From then onwards, Prabhu, wherever I see, I myself can't believe. I had gone to a shop and I saw a speaker there. I don't know if I am foolish. There were two circles just next to each other, and all I remembered was Jagannath eyes.
Right.
And wherever I see, lotus eyes of Jagannath. Wherever I see the shapes, I only remember Jagannath.
Super.
So that's how I could connect after the yatra, and it really changed me, is what I feel.
Yes, yatra does that. Nice. Okay. Okay. So this is why we prefer to start our day hearing from Bhagavatam, so that we can at least try to little bit fine tune, tweak our consciousness throughout the day. At least if we can remember sometime during the day, okay, we had this nice discussion in the morning. That's good. Okay. We'll stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Siddhayata, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Ananta Koti. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.